Keith Murray and Fredro Starr were supposed to battle.
Didn't happen,
and
right?
It got canceled, promoter didn't have the money or something, but I also heard a lot of people didn't show up.
Okay, so the turnout wasn't
The venue was pretty like empty apparently. What are your thoughts on, you know, those types of
the kind of like the OGs?
The OGs stepping back into it.
I was mad excited for that battle. Personally.
Did you also hear Bone Crusher and Mike Jones?
I heard about that one too. Let me go back to the Keith and Fredro. I personally was mad excited about it because I felt like, yo, it was kind of like my childhood coming back to me. Because I mean, I grew up on Onyx. I grew up on Keith and Redman and Flip Mode, and you know, like grew up, meaning these were guys that I was still living in Miami at the time, but these were guys that if I knew they were coming to perform, I'm talking about rushing to cop tickets so that I could make sure I'm in the front, rhyming along, right, and running to the CD store to cop their album. So I'm that type of Onyx fan and Flip Mode fan, right? So line for line, knowing the lyrics to their joint. So when I heard that the two of them were battling, yo, that's like a childhood, like, oh snap type of moment, right? Unfortunate that it didn't happen, but you know, on the larger scope, like as far as I think the question is just like, what are your thoughts on kind of these like veterans or OGs coming into this platform? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think it's a setback. I don't think it's a negative. I think if anything, you can't not allow them to, right? Like I know some of the young guys are like, yo, how y'all gonna come into? And I think like, yo, the young guys are gonna be young guys, right? Like young guys are gonna be young guys. I was a young guy once before myself, right? I'm not that old, but I'm talking about just like in terms of this particular topic. They gonna feel the need to defend, like, hold up, we've been building this battle culture for the last couple years. Now because it's at a certain level, y'all wanna come in and just collect a check or whatever their claim is, right? But the reality is you can't ever like kind of take away what the OGs did too. Not necessarily for the battle culture, but just for hip hop, you know what I mean? And for the culture as a whole. Cause I think that's the thing. It's so easy to take battle culture and kind of like put it in its own little corner and like it doesn't have anything to do with the bigger picture, but nah, it does, you know what I mean? You go back to the roots, you know, even like the young guys who really discredit, let's go even farther back than Keith and Fredro. Like when you ask like, yo, as far as you know, what was one of the first battles? And this is the one that we always get taught. Even though none of us were really there, Kool Moe D and Bizzy Bee, right? Probably wasn't the first battle, but as far as being documented and you can listen to audio. So it's easy for the young guys to be like, man, they didn't have schemes, they didn't have wordplay, they didn't have bars, it's easy to say that. But I think that's just like kind of overlooking that everything has to start somewhere. Because if those guys didn't do that, you think URL would exist? I mean, like this is just my own little personal thought. Like it's not a scientific thing, right? But you just look at the nature of the world. It's like everything has to start somewhere. And although you can't say, yo, it's changed and it's evolved, you can't be like, you can't just like discredit it, right? You can't just push it to the side. And even that, yo, I go and I listen to the Bizzy Bee and Kool Moe D. Yo, they was getting it in. Like if you was there present at the time, you know, in the 70s and the 80s, that was mad groundbreaking. But I'm saying like just the young guys, they caught up in they world and they just like, yo, that was nothing. What we doing is the real thing. And I'm, you know, for me, I'm just like, I don't know.